All right, welcome back to the War Room. Gentlemen, another crazy week of football. Some, and by some I mean Albert Johnson, referred to the weekend as the witching hour with how crazy the entire weekend was. From the downfall of Penn State to the downfall of TU, otherwise known as Texas football, to some absolute beatdowns as well. And a couple close matchups. A lot to break down here. And I tell you what, let's open with our internal beef, and then we're going to look at everything as a broad and break down some of the more.
No, we can skip that part or that.
Yeah, I'm sure you would love to. Anywho, we witnessed a Maroon showdown on Saturday. That was
not this weekend. Was blackout.
I'm so sorry. I almost forgot about that. So. It was A&M blackout. Mississippi State did show up in their Maroon.
Actually,
but in theory, it was Maroon on Maroon crime. Okay, so, but yeah, no, great. It was slated to be a really good matchup. I don't know why the spread was 16.5 going into the game. Obviously, the game proved that right. But this was a A&M team going up against a Mississippi State team who almost beat Tennessee and has been looking better than they have in the last 4 years, in my opinion. So the first half was very representative of that. The back half wasn't. Thomas, what was your thoughts of the game as it progressed? I mean, I don't know about you, but my teeth are pretty clenched in that first half, and I had to listen to Bert ring a cowbell in my own household, and my ears are still ringing. So luckily the second half not as much, but it's still a little PTSD. If you ever have to watch a state game with Bert, just bring ear protection.
We're gonna watch one.
It'll be an event.
We're gonna be there. No, I think so. I agree with you. The first half was really worrisome. I was actually there. Whenever we got the ball for the first time, the first 3 of the first 4 plays were flags, including the punt. So that was really frustrating. But to see that Elko in the second half got everyone back together. It was really good. I didn't think Marcel played particularly well in the first half. I thought he actually played pretty bad. Only had 180 yards. He had 2 touchdowns and then a pick. But I feel like the real highlight was the run game. Ran for over 300 yards. Ruben Owens had 142 yards, averaging 7 yards a carry, just about. And then Casey Concepcion, my bad. 2 touchdowns. I think they look like a well-oiled machine in the second half. Cassius Howell is the first. Also had a great game, 3 sacks. And I think he's the first Aggie since Myles Garrett to have multiple 3-sack games in a season. So that was pretty cool. Overall, Aggies looked great in the second half. First half had me a little nervous. But overall, good win.
Yeah. And I agree. I think Marcel looked a little bit out of rhythm in the first half, but the main thing we're looking for him going forward is there's still a couple of those deep balls that require arc on the throw that we're seeing just not enough arc on them that allows the receiver time to run under the ball. And it also throws off the timing a little bit. And I don't know if it's him doing that out of trying to rush the throw or uncomfortability in the pocket or with the angles. I'm not sure. We saw Kellen Mond struggle with this for years, actually, and I think Marcel is a little bit closer and making more progression towards finally getting the. Look, we've seen Marcel hit those shots. He hit one against Florida last year and against LSU last year. That was an absolute home run ball with arc on it. So we know we could do it. It's just we were expecting him to start hitting these or at least throwing the correct trajectories and angles by now. So. The only little concern that's a little concern I have on offense going forward, and something to watch out for. But the receivers continue to provide good route trees. I liked what I saw on the passing game in the second half, especially, and the run game with Le'Veon Moss being limited a little bit with a little bit of a nagging injury. I was very, very impressed with Ruben Owens running for, I believe, 142 yards, if I remember correctly. Very, very impressive performance by him. That's exactly why you really kind of have a 3-headed monster in the backfield there. Now, on the other side, with Mississippi State, I was very impressed with their defense in the first half. Did not think that this was going to be a defensive game for even more than a quarter. and the goal line stand they had there was very impressive. I think their collapse in the second half was more of a result of a team that continued to get targeted between the tackles for the entire first half, and then the third quarter, while their offense continued to just turn the ball over, with the exception of that opening drive that was very, very well done. And I think that defense didn't necessarily collapse because they were getting beat. I think it was almost them getting worn out. It's one of those things. It reminds me of like the Lovie Smith defense with the Texans about 3 years ago. Of just like, yeah, they were a great defense, but any defense is going to fold at some point if their offense is going 3 plays, 90 seconds out. So, for further analysis and where the path forward seems to go here, Bert, what was your analysis on what you saw in the first half versus the second? And where do you slate State to rebound going forward? Because I do think they will rebound.
So I think you hit the nail on the head. Frankly, I think State's defense just got worn out. I think looking at last year's defense, you're looking at a team that finished, a defense that finished last in the SEC. Arguably one of the worst defenses in all of Division I college football. Everybody knew there was going to be some improvement this year, but it wasn't going to be a situation where you were going to win because of defense. And I think you've been seeing that throughout the season. There just needs to be some improvements from a talent acquisition perspective, whether that's through the transfer portal, whether that's through recruiting high school players. There's still some steps to be made. And frankly, I kind of see Texas A&M is a team that wants to be competing for a national championship. And you saw that on display on Saturday. Mississippi State is a team that went 2-10 last year and is looking to make steps in the right direction. And I think we've seen that over the past several weeks with wins against Arizona State, with a good performance against Tennessee. However, there is a big talent gap between these two teams, and I think that was very apparent. I was encouraged in the first half, seeing how well the defense performed, but like you said, Cole, those 3 and outs and that offensive line really have got to get better over the offseason if State wants to be able to compete next year. So I think from a moving forward perspective, when it comes to Mississippi State, I think they're still a really good team. I still think they're going to knock somebody off. I don't necessarily think the stars were in our favor for this game, which is part of the reason I think you saw that initial spread, and then it even get wider as the week went along. But it's this year for State is all about making steps in the right direction.
Yeah, no, agreed. And I'm wondering, is your left tackle out for the season, or is this a week-to-week injury?
So I believe it's a week-to-week injury. Albert Reese is who Cole is talking about. He was listed as doubtful coming into the A&M game, which, what does doubtful mean? There's probably some smoke screens there that coaching staffs are trying to throw at opponents. From what I am inferring from, the State Twitter sphere and all that stuff, is it looks like he's going to be coming back later in the season. And same thing regarding Fluff Bothwell. He was the running back that got injured at the end of the game. It's sounding like the injury that everybody thought initially was the injury, like a broken foot, I believe is what everyone was saying initially. It sounds like they're going to be back later in the season. So that bodes well for us at least making a bowl game.
Yeah, I agree, because I think that offense is very different from what we saw the week prior to last week, or last Saturday rather. The amount of pressure that A&M was able to generate was much more than that of before your tackle went down against Tennessee. And even in the Tennessee game, you saw a shift in that, right? So I think that offense clicks very, very well once you either are able to plug the holes you have or get your original piece back into play.
Agreed.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, not too much else to cover there. I don't have any additional thoughts there. I will say after the game, we'll probably talk about next year, which would be TU versus Florida. Man, the A&M Florida game is going to be way more important than I thought it was going to be, and way more stressful than I thought it was going to be. So let's talk about that real quick in regards to TU versus Florida. I mean, guys, I don't think I think people thought this would be close because of the fact that Florida's defense was so good, but I didn't have Florida's offense putting 29 points up against anybody. I don't know about you guys. What were your initial thoughts watching this game? I know Bert and I were, prepping Double, watching this game, and thinking that we were just going to be able to just, snooze while it was going on and multitask. And we look up the scoreboard, we're like, oh my gosh, like what happened? So I think that was half of America. What are our thoughts here?
Yeah, I think it was one of those situations of just, I just think Texas isn't that great compared to Florida being they're incredible. I will say Lagway had an incredible game for what he's been playing at the beginning of the season. Credit to Florida, them starting 1-3. Man, they went through the gauntlet to start the season.
Is USF considered the gauntlet?
Well, I mean, USF is ranked, and they're pretty good. They're only lost
because they have had a loss since Florida.
They're only lost
for a cupcake game. That's not an easy cupcake.
Yeah,
no, I understand.
This is the start of their season. Long Island, which they won 55-0. Then they lost to South Florida on a game-winning field goal. Which, and again, South Florida for an out-of-conference game is not an easy game. It's not a cakewalk. Then you had LSU before everything hit the fan. Then you had Miami. Then you had Texas. So to start 1-3 against those teams, I mean, give them credit where credit's due. Lagway finally looked great, 21-28, almost 300 yards, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Had 160 yards on the ground, but they averaged about 4 yards a carry, which is still pretty good. Dallas Wilson had a great game, 111 yards and 2 touchdowns. So they look great, but I just think Texas just did not look good at all. And this isn't even from trying to be like a biased A&M perspective. I mean, Arch Manning he missed so many throws that he needed to make, especially if you're called the next, generational Manning, which has a lot of, meaning to it because your uncles are borderline 2 Hall of Famers. I say borderline because of Eli, not Peyton. Hall of Famers, yeah. But I mean, two touchdowns, 2 picks, 263 yards. I mean, you're not giving your playmakers anything. He was looking really hesitant in the pocket. He just looked stressed a lot. Him trying to process those reads. I just think he was processing really slow, which is why he kind of hesitated on a lot of the throws, and he overthrew a lot. I mean, at the beginning of the game, he missed 3 receivers that were wide open down the field. So and it's kind of like the situation with Mississippi State and A&M. It's like if your defense is out there almost the entire game after these 3 and outs, I mean, they're just going to get worn down. And to get worn down by an offense that's still pretty good. I mean, Florida came in ranked 15 in the preseason poll. I mean, they still have a bunch of great players over there on their offense. I mean, man, you're just going to get ran out of the building by your playmakers. And so I just think you put 2 and 2 together, and it's just not going to bode well for Texas. And rightfully so, they got dropped out of the rankings. Not because it's hating on them, but because, I mean, who is a good quality win? I mean, they lost to the lost to the only competition.
They've yet to beat a Power 4 team.
I mean, you can't go flexing on 0-3 Sam Houston State in week 4, and then drop it it's just a bad luck overall on Texas. That's
No,
my thoughts.
I question how Sark hasn't done stuff to help Arch. I really haven't seen anything week over week to help in the progression of him during his first full season as a starter. And quite honestly, I think somehow his play has regressed because we saw him coming in the back half of games last year where at least his arm mechanics looked better. Like his actual velocity looked better. Like everything looked better. I'm concerned either he's playing hurt or that there was some kind of change made to try to tailor the offense around him that actually is overcomplicating things and making him take longer to make reads or hesitate. Because that's what we're seeing a lot. We're seeing him hesitate, we're seeing him miss reads, and we're seeing him miss throws. Usually you're dealing with like one of those.
I think what you can look at too, I think one from last season in the back half of this, or whenever he would come in, I think it was more so that defenses were game planning for Quinn, not necessarily for Arch Manning. I mean, you would have him come in for your read option plays every once or twice a game. Obviously, teams would game plan for, but you're planning for someone who's going to be slinging the ball in the pocket more likely than not. And then I feel like also it's not. I don't think it's necessarily Sark not doing anything for Arch. I think it's more so Arch from how it looks. I think Arch is trying to do too much. Not even in his head, you can see because he's always trying. He's not looking for the check downs. He's always just launching the deep ball almost every chance that he can get. So I think he's trying to play Superman, especially with the expectations of being the next great Manning, that you can see him almost anticipating the wrong routes to get open. Instead of throwing the 50-yard bomb, why not check it down to the 5-yard curl? And get the 5 yards to get the offense going, getting the easy throws to get you in rhythm, then to open up everything else. So I think he's just trying to do too much and be Superman necessarily more so than Sark not helping him in that case.
So Bert, here's my question for you. One of the key stats I'm looking at here is the fact that your leading rusher and leading carries was Arch Manning with 37 rushing yards. After Arch, your next highest yardage rusher is Quintravion Wisner with 8 carries for 11 yards. So if there's one thing we have also noticed is not just that Arch Manning's play has decreased from the times he was put in last season to this year. I think their offensive line has absolutely tanked. 4 of their 5 guys, I believe, they lost, if I remember correctly, and they had to reload quickly. I don't know if they tried to promote from within or transfer portal. I don't know their whole situation. But I do know for certain last year that offensive line was so phenomenal they could run on anybody, and they were more of a run-first team. Even though they had great receivers and they had good arm talent, they could run on anybody. Ask A&M, ask half the teams they played last year. So now it seems that, you've got Arch Manning throwing the ball 29 times, but you're outside of Arch taking a carry, you have a combined 12 handoffs to somebody other than Arch. So when you look at this, Bert, do you think that Sark needs to find a way to run the ball, or is this team so incapable of running the ball with this underperforming offensive line? Because it's not just that they're not run blocking; they also can't. I mean, Arch has been getting hit a lot too. So do you think this is more they can't run the ball? So quick hit passes and quarterback draws are apparently their only way to move the ball? Or is this more do you think a coaching and play calling error on Sark's part? Because we know this is Sark's offense.
I mean, I think it has to do with the offensive line, frankly. I mean, Sark has shown that he's been able to run the football, with Bijan and ever since he's been at Texas. So I think you're spot on when you say there you have to question the talent on the offensive line. And frankly, just looking at this from a bigger picture standpoint, when you're not able to run the football, it's easy for a defensive coordinator to scheme against it. I'm going to keep 7 in the box. or 6 in the box if that gets it done, and I'm going to drop everybody else back, and that decreases passing lanes. It makes it more difficult for a quarterback, and that's frankly is probably some of the struggles you're seeing for the Texas offense.
Yeah, it's very concerning when I'm looking at this. And I will say this: Florida's defense has been phenomenal in many games that they've lost. I mean, many. They kept LSU close. I even think they kept Miami close. Correct?
Correct. So this is the one thing I think we haven't really touched on here is just let's not forget, like, Florida was a really talented team coming into the season. Like, they were I believe they were highly ranked, if I'm not mistaken.
Lagway was a Heisman candidate. All that
it was
stuff.
15. I mean, they were 15 to start the season.
I mean, they were considered to be, I mean, a potential contender for the SEC, and I don't know if those early games are an exact way to determine just how the season, like just how good that team is or isn't. And so it kind of goes back to what I was talking about last week with NIL, and the transfer portal has really jumbled up all these teams, and it is really hard to tell where the talent is, and it really makes it difficult for an away team when these two teams are so similar. And then one other thing, I guess, that really stood out to me is, I mean, I kind of thought Texas's defense was supposed to be legit. Like, everybody was saying coming into this game that, I mean, besides Ohio State, like, nobody else has really shown from a defensive perspective the talent that Texas has. And now Florida is putting up 29 points on them. I don't know what to expect from that side of the ball either. So
yeah. So what do you think is more probable? Do you think, because we saw Texas put up a good performance defensive, actually a great performance defensively against Ohio State week 1, and that game was a defensive battle, and their defense played well enough for TU to win the game if their offense could figure things out. Now, do you think this game was more TU's defense crumbling, kind of like what we discussed earlier, just by being thrown back out on the field so many times from their offense stumbling? Or do you think this is more Florida's offense finally figuring something out because they've been the main catalyst behind their team losing, is them unable to be moving the ball?
I mean, for me, I have to point and say it has more to do with Florida at this point. I mean, I've seen Texas perform. I mean, defensively, I mean, this is their first hiccup of the season, in my opinion. So just from going off of what I have seen against quality competition in Ohio State, I just think either Texas came out and laid a goose egg, or laid an egg, or Florida might have some stuff kind of rolling in the right direction offensively for a change.
Yeah, well, the weird thing is, and this is going to be synonymous with Texas and for at least another week. I don't know who they play next, but do they play Arky next, or is it OU?
OU, it's Red River because Mateer is up in the air.
Okay, so they better pray Mateer sits his butt on the bench. But so here's the thing: the only sample size we've had of Texas in regards to their defense has been this game in Ohio State, and other than that, they've been playing like Pennsylvania Baptist Catholic Central Penitentiary Junior College, right?
Yeah.
Their defensive ends are future Postal Service workers. So it's not been the best showing of skill outside of 2 games so far. And in the first one, they played great. In this one, I mean, you led a team who in some games I think scored as little as 10, if I remember correctly.
They've shut people out this year.
Yeah. So, you let Florida hang up 29 on you when other teams have held them to 10. I think Southern Florida may have held them to 10, if I remember correctly, or something like that.
Yeah, it was 16-18 for Florida versus USF. I will say
Miami then? It must have been Miami, maybe. I don't remember.
Maybe.
But yeah, it's just very confusing to judge that defense, but the offense as well.
I
will say it's a mystery.
I will say, I think to Bert's point, it in a sense, I think you can look at it from both perspectives. I think it's definitely more on the offense than the defense, to be fair, because, I mean, holding Ohio State to 14 points, that's not nothing.
Yeah.
To be completely fair, that's not nothing. But I think it says more about the offense. Again, going back to if 3 and out after 3 and out after 3 and out, I mean, you're wearing down your defense. You're not doing them any favors. So that's why you can see the separation start. But I think it starts at the quarterbacks. I think you saw DJ Lagway have his best game, I personally think, of his college career versus Texas this past weekend, or one of the best. I mean, throwing for almost 300 yards on a pretty good defense. I mean, again, that's not nothing. Especially after throwing 5 interceptions against LSU earlier this season, you can see the improvement that he made. But just seeing Arch Manning just not being able to facilitate out that offense, not being able to make the reads he needs to, and looking very, timid in the pocket, not throwing with confidence. I think it's almost like they switched positions, almost like Florida ended up being what Texas should have been, throwing the ball all over the field and getting people involved and stuff like that. And I think from this point forward, I think that teams are going, Arch Manning is going to get blitzed play after play after play. I just don't think that, at least for right now, because of the lack of confidence he has in his game, especially in his arm, and trying to do too much, not being confident. I think if you do too much, but you have confidence, I mean, it's a little better. But if you're trying to do everything and you're not confident, what are you even doing? I think you're going to see a lot of teams from this point forward just blitz and blitz, because, I mean, I feel like he's going to start getting overwhelmed. And a little preview for the A&M TU game later this year, I think that could possibly be what they do. Because, I mean, you have a great, not to get on an A&M tangent, obviously, but that's one of the best teams in the SEC that they're going to play, realistically. You're just going to, for now, obviously, you're just going to see them just rush after Arch, play after play after play. You're going to see Cassius Howell in the backfield, Albert Regis and Torian York. They're going to and this is a defense that isn't, that it's good and they're athletic, but isn't anything crazy. Think about when they play Oklahoma next week, when they play A&M, whenever they play.
People forget they're having to reload on their interior D line as well.
Yeah, they play Georgia.
Andre Sweat and the other guy that was next to him, those guys are in the NFL now.
Yeah,
I think one of their edge rushers is too. So their defense, they don't have the as good a defense as they did even last year. It's still just an elite defense from them reloading.
Yeah,
their offense is what they reloaded, but just it didn't work.
Yeah, and you have them playing Georgia again. That's 3 top-tier defensive teams in the SEC that they're still going to have to go against. So you look at these things, I see a lot of, until something changes with Arch, I just see almost every single team blitzing over 70% of the game. You're going to load
here's
the box.
The thing. We've seen both Ohio State and Florida. They don't always have to blitz against this Texas O-line to get pressure. You can send 4 and get pressure. And there's no look on defense, there's no better gift than usually the whole phrase is if you can't get him with 4, then you send more. Well, if you don't have to pass go and you can just send 4, that's the greatest gift you can ever get, because then you're still dropping 7 and you're getting pressure and not giving them a quick out.
Sure.
Because you're not having a man out.
I do think, though, you're going to see a lot of boxes being stacked, more so than if you were, if you had a competent run game. Or more a competent passing game. Sorry. So
yeah, because why not? Why not put 8 in the box, roll up the coverage, and play press the whole time, and dare him to throw it deep, because he hasn't been able to do that yet.
Exactly. So I think that's what you're
if I'm playing Texas, I'm going to play single high safety until he proves to me he can throw me a deep ball to the hash marks.
Yeah. So I think that's what you're going to see a lot of disguised blitzes or disguised maybe coverages to bait him into throwing, process quicker and throw something he doesn't really want to throw. like loading the box up with 8 and then having your linebackers drop off,
Take
So
away the cheap stuff.
Exactly. So I think that's what's going to happen until until something drastic changes, man, he's going to get pressured and pressured and pressured week after week after week. And again, they're not going to get any more favors from this point to the end of the season because it's all conference play. You're not playing these trash can Sam Houston State teams anymore. You're playing, and again, every team in the SEC, it has a fair, maybe not Kentucky, but even then they put up a fight to Ole Miss coming down to the wire. It's like you're not going to play a team that has a horrible defense. Like this is a horrible example, but because we lost to them in the bowl game last year. But USC being notorious for a high flying shootout kind of style, and then just give up points on the defense because that they're going to score on the next touchdown. That's not the SEC. You're going to have athletes everywhere, and you're going to get pressured constantly from Kentucky all the way up to, A&M, Georgia, Ole Miss, whoever. So I think Arch is going to have a rude awakening for the rest of the season unless he gets his crap together, and it's going to reflect. I don't think Texas, again, from as unbiased as I can possibly be, being an Aggie, I don't think Texas, again, just looking at the numbers, is going to be anything crazy. I'd be shocked if they won or if they didn't lose. What are they? They've lost 2 games. I wouldn't be shocked if they lost, if they went 8-4 or 7-5 this year.
Bert, over under 8.5 wins to you. What's you taking?
Let's look at the schedule, shall we?
And they're already down 2.
Keep in mind, they play Georgia, they play us, and they play Vandy, and they play Oklahoma.
All right, so we got 2 wins right now, correct?
3
wins. 3 wins, excuse me. Oklahoma lost.
It depends if Mateer's playing.
I honestly, at the rate I'm seeing, I don't think it matters.
Fair enough.
To be honest with you.
And OU's defense is very good.
So I am seeing 3 wins. Kentucky, okay, there's 4. Mississippi State, automatically, I don't know about that one anymore.
We were going to go to that game if we could, but the schedule works out better for Georgia.
I'll count it. Vanderbilt, I don't think that's – I mean, I don't see – outside of Kentucky, I don't see an easy just gimme game except for Arkansas.
Yeah, even if they get 50% of those games, those are
I'm gonna guess
games. You're under.
I'm gonna guess under. I'm gonna guess under.
Yeah, I go same here. But let's talk about something else that happened here, guys. We've got a cleanup on aisle 3 because Penn State absolutely crapped their pants. Okay, they went and they just weren't even there for most of the game, and then all of a sudden their offense showed up, but their defense got obliterated. We're talking about a 42-37 blowout. This would be like the average Texas Tech game circa 6 years ago when there was no defense in the Big 12. I didn't know what I was watching. All of a sudden we remind ourselves that Nico exists, and all the Tennessee fans were happy that that he didn't come back to this planet until he took 4 losses and eliminated himself from the playoff. But yeah, I mean, on one side, crazy bounce back from UCLA. I did hear that they switched an offensive coordinator over there. Although on all sides of the offense, their quarterback Nico, he's their leading passer. He's also their leading rusher with over 128 rushing yards off of 16 carries and 3 tuds. Threw for 2 tutters in the air.
I thought
he
had 5. He ran. Yeah. He had
5
2
total.
Passing, 3 running. And also keep in mind, this is after. So what happened was, which makes this even worse on a worse look on Penn State, is that UCLA fired their head coach, and both their OC and DC left before this game.
Yep.
And
if for Penn State, it's the gut punch, right? You kind of had a little bit of like the dice just didn't fall in our favor because we took the number 3 team in the country in Oregon to OT and lost barely,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you turn around and this happens, right? So, I mean, Bert, what is your reaction to this? Can Penn State even recover to this? Is it even possible?
No.
Okay.
I say it's time to blow it up. I mean, it's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, like, to be honest, like, James Franklin has won. Like, if there's one thing he's known for at his time at Penn State, it's winning those games, right? You might drop your Ohio States, you might drop your Michigans, you might drop like those big games, but you win these games, right? And that's what gets you guaranteed into the playoff, right? But the problem is like, you lose this game, and now it's like, why are you even there anymore? Like, I understand, like, you're still able to be there and compete, but it's just, it feels like rinse and repeat with Penn State every single year. And so at a certain point, if I'm a Penn State fan, I just have to say, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm done with Franklin. He's like Ryan Day without the championship. I'm done with him.
And look, to his credit, Ryan Day was a year or two aware of being fired before he got his championship. And even last year, people were calling for him to be fired because he was a 10-2 team when they believed he should have been undefeated with how talented that roster was. So it's crazy.
I mean, let's look at this, right? From a Penn State, like, the remainder of their schedule, you still have to play Indiana, which is not a gimme.
Nope.
You still have to play Ohio State. And
considering
considering you lost to UCLA, considering you lost to UCLA, I'm expecting you to lose both of those games. You went from the expectation of losing 1, maybe 2 games this season to now losing 4.
And a chance at finishing unranked at that.
And
this was a team that was supposed to win the national championship.
Yep.
And just to make this even worse, I'm looking at the stats. So UCLA did most of their work on the ground. They had 280 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns, about 5.5 yards a carry. Nico ran for 128 yards on Penn State. Think about that. 128 yards on Penn State. Their 2 backs, Anthony Woods and Jahavion Thomas, if I'm pronouncing that incorrectly, forgive me. They both ran for 60 yards apiece, averaging about 4 yards a carry between the 2. Nico ran 16 times. Anthony ran 14 times. Thomas ran 16 times. And then they had another guy run another 6 times. They threw the ball 24 times the entire game. They ran 52 times.
They just ran it right down their throat.
Not to mention the play caller. I don't know if that was their OC or their head coach now, or like their interim maybe. But whenever he was calling the plays, he would forget to press the button on the mic. So Nico would have to call some of the plays on the field. So, man,
Nico just goes to the ball. I didn't hear anything, so 4 verts. Let's go.
Yeah, like and
Sandlot.
Credit to Nico. He understood the situation, so you can see in the post.
We are running the annexation of Puerto Rico on 3.
Yeah, you can see in the post-game press conference, like, Nico, obviously because of the big win, but also like seeing how understanding he was towards the new head coach or the new coach. But man, you're running Nick Singleton, 11 carries for 39 yards, 2 catches for 16 yards. You're telling me you're giving one of your best players only 13 touches that entire game? Are you kidding me? Like, I agree with Bert in the aspect. I think Penn State is just one of those teams in purgatory, that can win those games, like win 1 or 2 like big time games every year. Get into the playoff, make some noise or whatever, but they lose. They can never do it. I agree with Bert. I think at this point you just blow it up.
Penn State is literally the Texas A&M of the Big Ten. Damn.
You're right, but that hurt.
We've turned
that
over
hurt
a
a
new
little bit.
leaf. We've
I have
turned
to get
over a
my
new
shots in.
leaf.
No, we haven't, Thomas. It doesn't count until we do it.
As
That's
in,
all we did last year.
Well, I mean, for Elko's first year, 8-4. Yes, Texas at 8-4.
Stop
I
it.
get
Stop
it.
it. Stop it. Stop it.
Anyways,
State.
Vandy, Alabama. Let's get
Penn
to
State.
that. Let's get to that.
Anyways, I agree with Bert. I think you blow it up. I think you pay similar to how A&M did. You pay James Franklin whatever you blank check right on the table and you say how much to leave. Like, because when will it be enough? Like, how much time do you need to get over that hump? It's like losing to an 0
pipeline. There's no problem anywhere in this program.
Losing to an 0-4 UCLA team is just unacceptable. And we gave them a pass to losing to Oregon. Dante Moore looks like the Heisman front runner running away with it. So you can get a pass for Oregon, especially losing at home. But man, you can't. Similar to Texas, from Texas and Penn State, both in the top 10, drop all the way out of the rankings. So I think that says a lot about kind of where they're at. I think, especially if they lose 4 games, I think James Franklin does get fired. You blow it up. Aller's gone. So you can pay some quarterback to come in and start fresh, which is the beauty about NIL is that, and look at A&M, for example. I mean, you could turn a program around with a coaching change pretty quickly. I mean, relative to like a couple of years ago, to like 10 years ago, if you fired a coach, it would take a lot longer to bring in players, develop, having players that you trust to develop a culture and to be good players. I mean, it's not, again, if you have the money for it, you can make a rebuild look pretty quick. But Penn State, especially if you have a name like Penn State or Texas A&M or whatever, Florida, Ohio State, whatever, like you can bring in the right people and you have enough resources to make that turnaround. But yeah, James Franklin, if they lose 4 games this year, he's gone. No way he stays.
I mean,
at
this point, if you've got somebody who played NCAA 26, college football 26, and flipped Kent State into a championship-winning team, you take that one. Or if they took, anything equivalent, Tulane, whatever. If that was their dynasty.
The fact of the matter is this. James Franklin has shown time in and time out that he can't get it done. He's got every bit of resources that he needs.
Oh, I have a better example.
He can't. Go ahead.
Penn State is like the 2017 to 2020 Houston Rockets with Mike D'Antoni. Have all the talent. I know, Cole. It hurts me too. Has all the talent in the world. Okay. Has all the talent in the world. Okay. Get all the way up there, but can't get it done.
So long story short, like there's other coaches out there right now that I think would do far better with Penn State resources than James Franklin. I mean, I think of Lane Kiffin, Eli Drinkowitz.
I don't think Lane Kiffin will.
Lane Kiffin is not a good fit, but there are definitely coaches out there that I think would do just as well as James Franklin at Penn State.
Hey, Coach O is looking to get back into the college football.
Not a chance. That does not. But like the personality is not there. But anyway, moving on.
Yeah, moving on.
All right, Vandy versus Alabama, 30-14. Vandy goes down. Vandy Pimp is in the ICU according to SEC Shorts. This one was close for at least the first 3 quarters. Looked very, very, very good. and then Alabama scores 16 unanswered through the second half, and man, I mean, they just walked away with it. Bert, what were your first thoughts on this one?
We can stop pretending Vanderbilt's a national championship contender. Thank God, finally.
It's getting scary. It's getting scary.
Well, I mean, so the fact of the matter is this: like, I'm glad to see Vanderbilt having success. Their program has been in the dumps for decades at this point. But at the end of the day, like, it's nobody expected Alabama to lose this game twice. After last year, they had this game circled. They said it's not going to happen. Like, if there's one game we're going to win, it's this game. And I mean, that was it. And frankly, like, Diego Pavia, like, I'm amazed they gave him another year of eligibility. The NCAA is a joke. We've said it a million times. The man's going to have, like, I saw, I think it was No Context College Football say that he got an NIL deal from AARP or something like that. It was something dumb. But regardless, like, we can stop pretending. Like, I think Vanderbilt has a great team. They're not Alabama.
Another improving season. I think that's what.
Yeah,
we can say.
and
Another improving season.
Clark Lee. I guarantee you, people are really starting to look at that dude as a head coach somewhere else. I mean, you do what he's done at Vanderbilt. There's a lot of other programs out there with a lot of other name recognition that are going to be interested in him.
Not to mention, I believe he's only been there 3 years. To go from the worst team in the SEC to, I'm not going to say one of the best, obviously, but like a above average SEC team in 3 years. I mean, that's pretty impressive, especially to have a quarterback like Diego Pavia. Personally, I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's anything crazy. So if you're,
I'm holding judgment. I'm holding off my judgment on Diego Pavia because people are going to get mad at him. People love him. I don't get it.
I think compared to the other quarterbacks in the SEC, I think he's more of a system guy compared to a pure, and I will say he has a lot of heart, but there's, like, talent-wise, he's average. But and it's not necessarily to dog Diego. It's more so to give credit to their head coach of putting the players in positions to have them succeed. I mean, again, their offense, like, this is the scores that they put up. And credit, some of these are trash can teams, but so keep that in mind. 45, 44, 31, 70, 55, and 30, or 14, sorry, on Bama. Like, that goes to show, like, your offense is insane. I mean, to put 70 points up in a game is ridiculous. So, man, like, that I agree with you. What's his name? Chris Lee? Is that what?
Clark Lee.
Clark Lee. I agree with you. I think, man, that would be a tough loss for Vandy if they if he stays with Vandy. That goes to show you that
he's an ex-Vandy player, so I could see where there's going to be some things holding him at Vanderbilt.
Money talks, man.
I mean, I've seen it a million times, even as a State fan, where we have people that are tied up in our university. They're ex-graduates, they're ex-players, they're ex-coaches, and they leave, going off to some other program because they pay more money.
Yeah, no, money does talk, guys. So, look, what's going to happen is Diego Pavia is getting a 7th year of eligibility, and that's going to come with the funding necessary to sign some big players with the new NIL deal he has from Life Alert, okay, because that's appropriate for his age at this point. So you get that. Now you got a program, and then all of a sudden you sign someone big on the defensive end to help bolster that defense, and now we're moving. And now that some of that money goes to the head coach, we get those under the table deals going, and now we got a program, okay.
Yeah, one thing I hate is, like, and I get it, like, I see it, but them comparing him to Johnny is ridiculous. And I think purely because he has a loud mouth and he's short.
And he wears the same number.
Yeah, like it
didn't help that Johnny was wearing a Diego Pavia jersey on the side of the Vanderbilt sideline.
Johnny's just.
I think I think Johnny just did it because he hates Bama and he was trying to pot stir.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Johnny was being an ass like he typically is. All right, hey, take it easy. Take off the maroon tinted glasses, fellas. But not. I think people are starting to really not enjoy Diego Pavia simply because
let's look on the other side of this. Yes, we've been bashing Diego Pavia here. How about the progression of Ty Simpson we've seen?
Ty Simpson is I will say Ty Simpson after that loss to Florida State, bro, and I think that was now looking back on it, I think that was an adjustment game because this is his first year starting, I believe, because he had Jalen Milroe last year. Man, Ty Simpson, he on the first play of the game through for their first offensive possession through that pick, that was his first turnover all year. But you throw for 340 yards,
340,
2 touchdowns and a pick. Like, man, I think Ty Simpson is, man, I will say he's underrated. And I think it's because you have this, at least for me, I thought about it. Like, you have this narrative of Bama quarterbacks of like, okay, who's the next one up? And then the next one up. Like, I mean, think about this. You go from Jalen Hurts to Tua Tagovailoa to, I believe it was Bryce Young, then to Jalen Milroe.
Nope, Mac Jones, then Bryce Young.
And Milroe. Four of the 5 quarterbacks I just named were top 15 picks. Or 3 of the 5 names because Jalen Hurts went in the second round. But you think about that, and you have this scrambling, absolute athlete, superstar, and then you have Ty Simpson, who's a pocket passer. Nothing wrong with, but man, I think he's proving a lot of people wrong. I think you could name him as like a top 3 quarterback in the SEC, a top 5 quarterback in college football. I don't think that's crazy. And I think as the year goes on, you're just going to continue to see that steady progression. I mean, he's really smart with the football. He doesn't take unnecessary risks. But I will say, like, man, this game, you see Ryan Williams starting to look like himself again. 6 catches, almost 98 yards and a touchdown. Man, he's just getting everyone involved. It's really cool to see. I'm glad we don't play them this year. I will say that. But yeah, and to also run for 136 yards with Jam Miller on Vandy. I mean, that you're gonna win games that way.
I think we have to start having this conversation. I think maybe possibly Alabama losing to Florida State week 1 might have been the greatest thing to happen to them.
I agree. I think that was a good. I think that was a reality check of, hey, like, we're like hanging on to the name value of Bama, expecting to beat these teams, especially from Florida State being like coming from that 2-10 season last year. I think they shook off the expectation of like, oh, we're Bama, we're gonna beat everyone. To okay, no, like. We
have to earn it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, we need to make sure we're not going to deal with that embarrassing loss again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they looked horrible in against Florida State, but man, they've looked like just an absolute machine in the last 4 games that they've won. So I think I think that says a lot about one. And I will give him credit, Kalen DeBoer. I think that shows a lot about him. You know, he gets a lot of crap because he's the guy coming in after Saban. You're naturally gonna get like your crap. You lose 2 games, 3 games. Oh, he's on the hot seat. Like Bama isn't gonna, go for that. We're gonna fire him after. Like I think that says a lot about DeBoer, him bringing his team together, being a good leader, putting together a great offense that he had at Washington and whatnot. So, they're the real deal. I think this proves it.
Agreed. All right. Well, I think that's.
Is it my turn? Is it my turn?
Yes. This is our segment where Bert goes absolutely crazy against the AP Top 25 rankings. This is our favorite weekly segment to where we go through the top 25. We let Bert solo it, and then we'll go and make our comments as we go.
So I'm going to do.
I finally understand.
Let's do it this way, fellas. I'm going to go 1 through 5, and if there is something that stands out to you, that is where you would say something. All right.
Copy that.
Here we go.
All right, Bert.
Starting at number
proceed.
1, coming at you hot. Ohio State, Miami, Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M. Nothing really stands out to me here.
I will say you could make an argument of Miami being number 1 over Ohio State. I think you can have a conversation. I agree. I think the top 5 and maybe Ole Miss and A&M switching just because of strength of schedule and whatnot and the technical things. But I think you can have the conversation of switching Miami and Ohio State mainly.
I think any of these teams can be there. I agree. Ohio State, Miami, Oregon. Frankly, I think any of those teams can be number 1. Ole Miss, A&M. I think those are the 4 and 5. I think there's an argument those two can be switched around, but to be honest,
the overall the 5, we have no problems with the 5.
I have no problems with the 5.
It's like S tier, A tier, basically.
6, Oklahoma, Indiana, Alabama, Texas Tech, Georgia. Okay, so here's where I start running into some problems. So Oklahoma, they're still a little unproven to me. I don't think there's a whole lot of teams you can put up above them, though. Indiana at 7 is a little surprising to me.
We will see this weekend if they're actually this will be a fraud check weekend to see if they actually deserve that number 7.
Agreed with that. Alabama at 8, I have no problem with that one considering where Vanderbilt was. Texas Tech at 9, that's an interesting one to me. I understand Texas Tech had a lot of hype coming into this season. However, who have they played? Who have they played that warrants them to be number 9?
At the time that they played Utah, they were ranked. They were ranked 16th.
So here's the deal, though, right? So listen to me real quick. They are currently ranked. I'm going to just name the next 3 teams, and I want you to tell me why the hell Texas Tech is ranked over these 3 teams. Number 10, Georgia. Number 11, LSU. And number 12, Tennessee.
Okay,
the rest of those have a loss.
I can give you a somewhat plausible argument for Tech.
Okay, go ahead.
You are given – so you have the schedule that you're given. They've won all the games, but I think it's the way they've been winning that I could see them being higher. Like, I could see them not above Bama. I do think it's okay about Georgia because then you run into the Alabama-Georgia thing, like Bama beat Georgia and stuff like that. But Texas Tech is beating everyone. Like, their lowest margin of victory is 24. Like, three touchdowns is the lowest margin. So it's not like they're.
Let's take a look. Let's take a look at Texas Tech here.
I can tell you. I have it pulled up.
The only 2 legitimate games they played was Utah and Houston thus far.
62 to 14, week 2. 45-14, week 3. 34-10 against Utah. 35-11 against Houston.
So here's my issue,
undefeated.
though. Here's my issue with Texas Tech, right? It's you are currently ranked at number 9. This record, from what I am seeing, does not warrant a top 10 ranking. I understand you play the teams on your schedule, right? But let's look at the remainder of their schedule here. We're looking at Kansas, number 21 currently, Arizona State, Oklahoma State, Kansas State, BYU, UCF, West Virginia.
Well, then that's where you look at how they're winning. If you're just skating by on these teams, okay, I agree with you. If you're 5-0 and you're winning by like a touchdown, cool. Makes sense, but they are blowing these people out. And again, you have
to if you're 5-0 and you don't have a ranked win, why are you up there? They have a ranked win. It was at the time I think they were at 15. Utah was 16.
Utah was 16. Tech was 17. So and then you also have to.
So you have a ranked win.
The reason why they're higher is because of all these teams that are dropping out, like Texas and then Penn State and then LSU. So. The reason they started at 23 to start the season. So the reason why they're building up is because all the teams at the top are falling out. It's not like you're putting Tech above these people because of X, Y, Z.
But here's my question though. If Texas Tech and Georgia were going to play in Indianapolis tomorrow, who's going to be the favored team in that matchup?
Georgia.
So why the heck is Texas Tech ranked over them? Same thing with Tennessee. Same thing with let's look at some of these other teams. Tennessee, LSU.
I would still have Tech. I would have Tech over LSU. LSU's offense has looked awful.
I understand where you're coming from with LSU. Frankly, I think LSU is overranked here a little bit as well. The best one they currently have is Clemson.
So like I think I could understand the top 10 ranking though. I could understand not having them in the top 10 though. But I think the teams after that, I would probably have because their quarterback looked insane.
I would have Georgia and Tennessee ranked over Texas Tech. Sorry.
Fair. But I don't think you can drop them any lower than 12 at the max.
Because there's already just so many few unbeaten teams with a ranked.
So again, I think we're starting to get into the whole argument of strength of schedule here.
Yeah, but continue.
And anyway, I have a feel Texas Tech is going to have some other opponents. I think BYU is ranked 18th. They play them. They're going to play Arizona State ranked 21. Are they going to be ranked? Are they going to be ranked?
Don't play Baylor or Colorado. That's interesting to me.
Bro, you said Baylor, I get. Colorado, okay. We know you love Colorado, but Colorado does not look great.
Colorado almost beat BYU.
All right, hey, my segment.
I will say that's what you're going to get in the Big 12. You're going to get your lower end top, like your 20 to 25 ranked wins.
My issue is when you start arguing with Texas Tech being like, I get it. Their strength of schedule is not going to be the same as some of the other conferences and other schools. And that's why part of the reason we have the 12-team playoff, right, and why they expanded in the first place. So regardless, moving on.
Continue.
All right. So here we go. As mentioned previously, starting at 10, we got Georgia, LSU, Tennessee, Georgia Tech, Missouri, Michigan. Georgia Tech at 13 is interesting to me.
I agree.
Comments, concerns on that one?
Did they have a bye week this week?
It's weird. It's weird because they played some people and then they have a bye week. They did.
I think that's a little high, especially whenever your last game coming off of a last second win over Wake Forest. I mean, your best win being Clemson. Again, not looking great. I think they should. I think they should be at the lower end of the top 20. I think 13 is a little high. Not to say they're a bad football team, but again, kind of like the strength of schedule argument, I guess. I think this goes more towards – I think you can make more of an argument towards Georgia Tech being a little too high than for Texas Tech being a little too high. But I think I would have –
Don't go back there. Don't go back down that rabbit hole.
No. I'm saying a similar argument, but it's stronger here to why they shouldn't be this high. Like I would for sure have Missouri over them, even though I think the level of competition Missouri has faced is probably about the same as Tech. In a way, in the fashion of how they're beating teams. So I would have them over. I'm trying to find Michigan's because I haven't been keeping up.
So Michigan, I'm
looking at Michigan's schedule.
So
they lost, or they're like okay.
Their best win currently is Nebraska.
Yeah, and they
lost to Oklahoma.
I think,
invalid.
I think that's a little high. I think they're high as well.
So I'll be honest here, fellas. I would not have Michigan ranked at all. I think that is
correct.
I think that is a logo pick, just like the one right after it.
If you have to have them ranked 25, maybe. If you absolutely need them ranked.
So here's the
give
deal,
them a pity
right?
rank.
Here's the deal. Like Michigan, they are going to play some harder teams this year. They are going to get the opportunity to move up.
We'll see
as their resume sits right now. I do not see them warrant like the 15 is garbage in my opinion. Like seriously, we're saying like I'd put
Illinois over them.
I'd put Illinois over them. I'd put Virginia over them. They have a better. I'd put Vanderbilt, Arizona. I'd put most of these teams over them. That is
agree with
like
you.
now that I think.
Would you put Notre Dame? Would you put Notre Dame over Michigan?
Well, no. Bert, cover the next five. Cover the next five, please.
Okay. Next five. You got 16. Notre Dame, Illinois, BYU, Virginia, Vanderbilt.
Excuse me.
Don't get. We've talked about Notre Dame, so let's not focus on that one. I think everybody on this podcast.
Sorry.
I think we're in agreement saying that they shouldn't be ranked.
That's garbage.
So here's the thing. Here's the thing with Notre Dame. Again, and we're going down this rabbit hole just to point out like the absolute buffoonery of the AP voter. Like, let's look at it. Their schedule right now. So
they beat up Archie and took a nap.
Currently, their best win
after they fired Pittman too.
You have a loss to Miami. You have a loss to Texas A&M. You have a win against Purdue. You have a win against Arkansas, and you have a win against Boise State. There is nothing on that resume that says to me this is a top 25 team.
Correct. I think their only hope is praying that A&M and who's the first team they played? Miami. The only thing that they are praying on right now is that those two teams win out.
Listen to this. Okay, I'm just going to read out the rest of their schedule real quick. You got NC State, USC, unranked USC, Boston College, Navy, Pittsburgh, Syracuse, Stanford. And you want to throw this team in there and say they are the same thing as a top-tier SEC school? Yeah, it's garbage. I'm done with this team.
Garbage.
It is the same story with them every single year. They're going to win the rest of their games. They're going to go be 10-2, and there's always going to be like an argument for them to be in the college football playoff.
If they get
that team,
they have to join a conference at this point.
I'm at the point to say if you do not join a conference, and when the Big Ten and the SEC break away and from the NCAA and there's a big mutiny. The big mutiny is coming. I think everybody's aware of that. If Notre Dame does not join a conference, I say throw them in FCS. Seriously, seriously.
They'll still find a way into the FBS playoff, Bert. That'll just further.
I agree. I think Notre Dame is again their only hope of getting in is that A&M and Miami went out to make those losses look like we lost to the two top 5 teams in the country, but we're beating everyone. I think that's their only hope. I think for sure if they lose one more, they're cooked. They are cooked.
Yeah. Illinois at 17.
You know who's in the same position as them and not ranked? Auburn. And nobody's gassing them up.
Well, Auburn sucks.
The resume is the same. They lost to two teams that were in the top 10, borderline top 5. Well, actually, at the time they lost to them, both in the top 5.
But Auburn's offense. So Auburn's offense.
All right.
In the top 7.
I'm reining it back in, fellas. Yeah. I'm reining it back in.
Keep it going. This is your thing.
All right. 21. Arizona State, Iowa State, Memphis, good for them. South Florida, good for them. Florida State at 25.
Florida State shouldn't be ranked. I think Cincinnati should be ranked over Florida State because of the win that they had against Iowa State. Again, Iowa State was 14 and they're 22 now. Again, we still think kind of Iowa State's that little like fraud check ranked team. I think Cincinnati looks great. I mean, they honestly put a beat down on Iowa State. It wasn't like close particularly. So I think they should be in the top 25, maybe around like 24, 25. It's great to see South Florida back in the rankings. I know Memphis is the first bowl eligible team of the season already, ironically enough. Arizona State, I agree with. I think they've looked better. Jordan Tyson and Sam Leavitt have really picked it up. So I'm not too – besides Florida State, I think you switch Florida State and Cincinnati.
Fair enough. Notable key outages of this top 25 is going to be Texas and Penn State, as we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Suckers.
Yeah.
And again, this is what we talk about. I think we've talked about this on multiple weeks now. It's the same story every single year with those two teams. Logos, they weren't warranted. Texas didn't deserve their 9 ranking last week. There's an argument to be made that Penn State didn't deserve their 7 ranking last week. And that's why they're excluded from this ranking.
They can go enjoy being unranked and go back to their crayon eating and window licking. Okay, let's just let them be in their corner.
And Mississippi State currently receiving votes at 10 for all the Bulldogs out there.
Hey, there you go. And then you have Auburn with 1 singular vote.
How did they let Gus Malzahn get a vote? No, I'm kidding. Or Hugh Freeze, excuse me.
That's crazy.
That wraps up the top 25 buffoonery. Stick your head through a mental asylum week 7 preview.
Not as painful as 3 weeks ago, mind you.
So we're getting there. I still give it I'm going to give it a C. I'm going to give it a C.
That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair.
So we were at a C minus, and now we're at a C. So
improvement.
Hey,
improvement.
I still think, and it's never going to happen. I still propose that we do not actually release a top 25 until week 2 of conference play.
But then you have no big ranked matchup. It's a marketing thing.
I understand that perspective. Or better yet, I just say if forget about the whole AP voting system. Let's just have the CFP do it starting at week 0.
Just do the coaches poll. Do the coaches poll.
Yeah, I think coaches poll could be good. But we have some big games to preview.
Yeah, week 7. Okay, some of the big ones we got coming up. We're about to find out Missouri's a team. Alabama versus Missouri. That's going to be a big one. We've also got Ohio State, Illinois. Along with that, you've also got some other matchups in the Red River rivalry with Oklahoma and Texas, Florida, Texas A&M. That I think that's going to be tighter than a lot of people thought it would be. And then let's see a couple other matchups here.
I think
at LSU and Georgia Auburn. I think will also be interesting from a distance.
I think the main one, the marquee. I'm pretty sure game day is going to be there, especially because it's in Eugene, is Oregon, Indiana. I think this game is going to see if Indiana is legit. I think this is going to be a similar a very similar type situation as Indiana in the CFB. They went undefeated last year in the regular season, if I'm not mistaken. And then they got into the CFP and they got absolutely railroaded in the playoff game. I think this is a very similar situation. I think this is going to see if – because Indiana hasn't played anyone crazy yet. I mean, they played only Illinois, and we already alluded to earlier that they were a fraud check top 10 team. And they almost lost to Iowa. They won by 5. So I think I'm actually shocked that the line is only 7.5.
Slam that. Slam that over.
I think, man, I honestly think Oregon is about to run.
Demolish.
I think you're looking at easily I think 3 touchdowns, easy.
If the line was 13.5, I would have taken that one too.
I think the line could be like 21.5 or 20.
20.5. I take that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if Indiana wins, I would be shocked, quite honestly. And Oregon should.
That'd be one of the biggest stories of the year.
Yeah, but I don't know. I really do think Indiana is going to get absolutely railroaded. Oregon's is quite honestly just that good.
Look, Indiana's going to throw around like Arch Manning in the pocket right now. Okay, it's not going to be close. The question is, will it be by 2 or 3 scores?
Yeah, worse. But
what's the big matchup you're looking at for Week 7?
Honestly, I'm looking at this Alabama-Missouri game.
I was just about to say, and I was looking.
That's the one where I currently see
Fraud
Alabama
check on Missouri
is a 2.5-point favorite. I'm a little surprised that line is pretty as close as it is.
Over.
I think Bama's going to cover that one. It is in Missouri, we've seen how some of these road SEC games kind of go. But again, it's fraud check time for Missouri. They haven't. I think their best opponent they've played so far is Kansas, if I'm not mistaken, and Alabama is coming off of. They got a little momentum coming off of Georgia
Carolina.
And Vanderbilt. South Carolina, excuse me.
From a formerly ranked perspective, I would put South Carolina over Kansas.
But anyway, no, I'm really curious about this game. It's time to figure out if Missouri's real or not.
I think
it's with Missouri. It's always until we get to Week 7 that we finally figure out if they're going to be a team or not. Every year.
Yeah, I think two things. One, you're slamming the over a million times over on this game.
On 51.5?
No, on the spread.
No. You're saying the spread. Yeah, you got Bama covering.
2.5 is ridiculous. It's almost as ridiculous as Oregon at 7.5.
Yeah,
like
2.5.
You have them winning off of a field goal. Like no way. Like So I think that is going to show if Bama is who we've seen them to be in the last 4 weeks. Easy 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
easy.
Agreed.
Two. I think this shows if Bo Pribula is legit. Or Pribula. I think it's Pribula.
I know this is the least of everyone's worries, but I'm also interested in the Iowa State-Colorado game because if that team can figure out in regards to Colorado which of their 3 quarterbacks they want to start, then they do have some weapons around them. Look, they almost beat Georgia Tech, and they were a field goal away from beating ranked BYU. You can make that face all you want. They've played some teams close.
Me and Thomas come out here slanging, and Cole just comes out here with like a little dinking little thing.
One game.
Somebody's got to talk about it.
I mean, you could have taken Texas A&M.
That's not my key matchup. I'm just saying, hey, before I forget about it, I want to get this out of my head.
I would have, and I was in the middle of saying how Bo is either gonna make or break this narrative of like, man, should we have kept him should I have stayed at Penn State and started over Drew Aller? Having that conversation start officially. If he looks great against Bama when they're having the things rolling, I get it's at Missouri, but still, I mean, you still have to make the plays, and And I wouldn't say Missouri is necessarily the most. Actually, I'm going to shut my mouth because we're going to play there later this year, and I'm not trying to be like Garrett Nussmeier or that clown.
Have to eat
crow.
crow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do that to myself. But
we will quote you if this.
Yeah,
happens.
that's why I stopped. But this is a make or break game for Missouri. This is a make or break game for Bo to prove if he's legit or not. But I do think Bama's going to wipe the floor with Missouri's going to fraud check them as well as Oregon fraud checking.
Missouri will drop out of the rankings, and Notre Dame breaks the top 15.
I don't think they'll drop out. I don't think they'll drop out the rankings, though. I think they'll
just
be
hating on Notre Dame.
Yeah, I think Missouri, if they lose, they'll be like 23, unless they get blown out, which again is still hard to see them being not 23, 24, 25. But yeah, those are the two games I have my eyes on for sure, because that's going to be proving grounds for sure. But Mr. Klopp, what's your game?
My key matchup is I'm very interested in this OU Texas game. Very, very interested. Want to see if Texas's offense can really do anything, because against good matchups, they've yet to prove that they can be explosive in any capacity. Ohio State, nothing there. And then Florida, nothing there as well. That last touchdown was in garbage time as well. It should have been probably 14-29. And, that it is what it is. So whether you have Mateer or not with OU, I think OU should win that game. But especially if they do have Mateer, very interested in if TU can do anything against that OU defensive front that we've seen stonewall some people. So very interested in that. And I'm also interested, of course, in the Florida A&M matchup. I think that's going to be a closer game than people think, purely because of how good Florida's defense is. That's going to throw anybody for a loop. We've seen it throw everyone for a loop.
The line on this game is 7.5, and this one is one where I'm like, okay, this makes more sense than the other lines. And
look, the fact that we got DJ Lagway throwing to the correct colored jerseys and completing forward passes has got me scared at this point. So
yeah, I think
this plays out.
I will say this is a night game at Kyle. We were at the Swamp last year. That's where Marcel snatched some ankles, snatched some soles from some Gators down there in Gainesville. But I think if we were in Gainesville, I would be more nervous than I already am for sure. We'll see if Marcel can get his crap together, throwing the ball like he did in the second half, and we can keep the run game going. I think it would be a tough night for Florida, but I wouldn't be this will be a close game.
They will keep it
all
close.
right.
I think
all right. Quit blowing smoke up your butts. Let's go. Let's wrap it up.
This guy. Hey. Those who won their game last week can talk. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right.
That was a theme of this past weekend for those who are not aware.
That's going to be the podcast logo, by the way. Any other last-minute thoughts on any key matchups here, particularly about the Georgia-Auburn game? Is that going to be close at all?
No, again, same issue that Auburn had against A&M. I just think Georgia's team is going to be too much for them. I think Jackson Arnold's going to still have this. Is it in Auburn or is it in?
It doesn't. Let's be honest. It doesn't matter.
No, I agree. It doesn't matter. I'm just curious. Is it in Georgia or?
I think it's at Auburn. I think my
regardless. I think Jackson Arnold is still going to have the issues of.
It's at Auburn.
I think Jackson Arnold's still going to have the issues of taking too long in the pocket. It's going to have a lot of sacks, especially with the D line that Georgia has, big and athletic. I just think if you're giving up 7 sacks to A&M and then you're giving up 10 to OU, I'm banking they're
let's
probably
save some
5.
Hey, let's just save some time, Georgia.
Yeah.
Big.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have no further thoughts, guys. That was another great recap of Week 6 and getting us ready for Week 7. I think we're going to come back here and see some more big names drop. Praying it's not A&M because my mental health will drop with it.
Well, that would be
same with Bert.
people, but
Bert, you guys are enjoying a bye week, correct?
oh, much yes.
They need a bye week.
They
need this bye week.
I do celebrate. Yeah, I do celebrate.
Okay, send your left tackle and Fluff to Cancun and tell them they need to be ready in a week.
Yeah.
We're working on stem cells with those fellas.
Okay.
Bionic legs.
Yeah, we're getting the cloning process on those guys.
No, you got to go full RoboCop with Fluff. Okay, just take his brain and put it in another body.
Hey, I'm not at odds to talk about everything we're doing with him. So let's just wrap it up.
Wonderful. Now that we're done playing, y'all can do all the cheating you want. Anywho, guys, thanks for hopping on another good episode. Thank you guys for who stuck around the full episode. Thank you for listening. Feel free to leave a comment. Let us know what you want us to talk about for next week on any of our posts, our social media, or on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, etc. We'll see you guys after probably another chaotic week of college football of week 7. Hope you guys enjoy. Talk to you guys soon.